The sun begins to set behind the mountains. Those that thrive beneath its warmth and light huddle closer together, seeking safety in numbers. Darkness is coming. As the moon begins to rise, so do the monsters that dance beneath its lesser light. Venomous, vicious, volatile. There is a reason to fear the dark. They are coming. But all little night terrors must start somewhere. And with the release of Trike upon the world, it was high time Acro and I get growing. Thankfully, with spawn codes now being a thing, we didn't have to travel the entire map to reach each other. Instead, we spawned within a reasonable range and quickly headed in the direction of the nearest AI. I'm sure many of you are aware how strange the AI spawning has been since the most recent couple of patches. And in this time, they were essentially invisible until you were almost touching them. Now, more than ever, we needed to rely on our ears, not our eyes. Also, the deer now defend themselves against threats, using a combination of stomps and head swings to damage and knock back attackers. No big deal when you're big, but hunting a deer that's fighting back against you as a fresh spawn feels like a very goofy boss battle. Having found a fairly reliable source of deer, and not much else, we remained around the area, hunting as needed while we began to grow. The lack of AI during this time across the majority of the map meant that other carnivores were also actively searching out the areas where food did spawn reliably. And that meant we soon found ourselves in direct competition with a young Sorado. We didn't yet have venom, but we had a few options. Not the least of which was attempting to starve him to death by preventing him from hunting. While we swapped out keeping pressure and filling our own stomachs, the Sorado appeared to decide that it was time for a new game plan. Running us around in an open field wasn't going to work, and we clearly had no intention of giving up on the potential for better diets. With night drawing nearer, he made his way into the forest and up onto a rocky outcropping on the side of the mountain. This was fine. We would wait. He'd be in trouble either with his food or his water eventually. The only problem, though, was that our own water was getting incredibly low. We'd been waiting on our venom to come in before pushing forward, and now that it had, we began to take risks. Time was no longer on our side. We had both vomited, and now it was a race to get to water. We had no real choice. By the time we were grown, we had made our way south. As one of the major hotspots, we were seeking action, which we found fairly quickly. A small group of young Carnos caught our eye. Perfect. We are nothing if not nomadic, though, and we didn't stay in South for long. Onward to Highlands, where I heard something snuffling in a bush. Just a fresh spawn. He didn't come out of the bush, but we left him alive. No need to end his life so early. The next day, we looped back into West Rail. I was getting rather desperately hungry, and we really needed a proper hunt to get back on track. The changes to the foliage sounds have been incredibly interesting for finding otherwise incredibly sneaky players. As we trotted toward the pond, a rustling in the bushes to our right stopped us both in our tracks. Something was there. It was a Tenonto. Now that was a good meal, if we could take it down. Our clones weren't spawning properly, and the Tenno rushed for the pond where a young trike was drinking. Thankfully, mix herding is not allowed, and the trike couldn't interfere. The water was annoying, but we ultimately took him down. Which was a relief because my hunger levels were worrying. We would take the time to eat and heal up before continuing on our way. We decided we wanted to make our way to the Bush Plains. The new area is honestly one of my favorites on Gateway. On the way there, though, we heard a young trike call out and decided to investigate that instead. As we came around the corner, we spotted the Dilos and the trike they were hunting. They requested help, so we decided to test their target and see if it would be a doable fight. With him camping, though, we quickly decided it was too dangerous, and encouraged the remaining Dilo to release the pressure and let the trike move out of that tight corner. It didn't take long before the trike went free and moved toward the Maya that was passing by. Perfect. Now that he was in the open, the hunt could continue. Before long, we had him backed up in the bushes and against a rock again. The Maya watched from nearby as we enjoyed the spoils of our hunt. Time passed and we made our way back to Highlands. It was midday, not the best time to be hunting, but we were growing hungrier, and with AI still incredibly scarce, we needed food as soon as possible. Luckily for us, we'd spotted a Tenonto ahead. Dangerous to fight, but good eating. He immediately ran up a rock. We'd have to be careful. A goofy pteranodon, though, did what pteranodons do best. And I placed him gently on the ground elsewhere. Don't worry, he's just sleeping. The rock itself wasn't quite tall enough to injure us, as long as we bounced off the other rock behind it. So run-throughs were a perfectly acceptable option. Fighting in tight quarters as a Dilo is tough. Our agility is quite abysmal, but we were managing. And then our clones decided to work, despite the rock. The Tenno's panic increased until he decided to try and run. He didn't get far. Night came on with its oppressive darkness, which lifted just in time to spot the Carno charging directly at us from across a field. My plan to make him skid off the cliff, though, unfortunately failed. Well, we'd have to do this the old-fashioned way. As he used the waterfall to try and avoid us, I decided to go in for a face tank. And he dropped faster than I expected. Having healed and eaten, we wandered into the bush plains. When I say that I love the new tracking opportunities the foliage sounds provide, I really mean it. As we trotted along, I heard a slight rustle in a direction that neither of us were walking, and immediately dropped into a crouch. And so the hunt began. Just as we wondered if we'd lost it, I heard more movement ahead and darted forward to close the distance. Silence. And then I saw something in the bushes. Okay. Maybe rushing in to bite something I couldn't fully see isn't always the best plan, but I found what we'd been tracking, and I was thrilled. Being a night terror, despised and feared by many, comes with its downsides. We had spotted a rather sneaky Tenonto running up a hillside, and spent several minutes searching for it in the trees before giving up. Which is, of course, when she charged out of the bushes at me. Before long, we'd gotten pushed into some foliage, and I tried to lure her back out into the open. Instead, she raced back up the hill in the direction she'd gone before. This time, though, we were much closer. She wouldn't be able to hide away. And sure enough, she'd led us right to where she was hiding. Well, now we just had to wait. We waited, switching out getting water and whatever food we could scavenge nearby. She'd have to come down eventually. And sure enough, she finally did. Down on the salt pond beach, she took a stand. But Acro got her fully envenomated. Perfect. But no. She swam across the pond, knowing that she was significantly faster in water. Well, shoot. I looped around in one direction, Acro went in the other. By the time I got there, I had low stamina, and the Tenonto was camping another cliff section. Alright, the waiting begins anew. Having a bad feeling about regaining stamina on the far side of the river, I decided to cross back over to Acro. At the same moment, a raptor approached. We were already hunting, but I crouched at them all the same. Right as I got to Acro, a pair of Carnos appeared where I'd been. Guess it's a good thing I listened to my gut. We continued waiting, watching. And then we spotted the Carnos again, charging up the hill. They were coming for us. Two hits and I was out. We needed to run. Gosh darn it. But waiting for the Tenonto to get desperate wasn't worth dying over. Off and away. If we were lucky, maybe, just maybe, we'd escape and the Tenno would remain nearby. The Carnos gave up quickly, and while Acro looped back up to see if the Tenno was still on the cliff, I decided to go check where she'd been hiding before. Oh boy. Likely assuming the worst for us, she had, in fact, returned to the hole. This time, though, she was much less inclined to try and wait us out. She knew she was only delaying the inevitable. She would have to fight for her life. And fight she did, right up until the situation got dire. She was fully venomed, and we were relentless. She swam once more, but this time I wasn't giving up and going back. She was going to drop, or I was. The local baby came to steal its pumpkins back, so they weren't underfoot. Clones didn't seem to be working, though. She didn't have many options now. Acro decided to push, and this time when he bit her again, the clones started properly spawning. Her time was officially up. She delayed as long as possible, but after all that waiting, she finally dropped. With the dangerous Carnos in the west, we moved toward Highlands with the intention of going northeast. We got minorly distracted by the sound of a gallimimus calling, and as we turned to try and jump it, Acro spotted something much more fun. Yet another Tenno. Two additional Dilos appeared down the hill from us mid-fight, and they joined in to provide additional damage. It didn't take long for the Tenno to drop. Acro's bleed was low from taking a few kicks to the face, though, and we sat to rest and eat. As we did so, one of the other Dilos pointed out a Carno. Ah, crap. Here we go again. One Carno. Okay, we've got this. But then there were two. That's a big maybe. When the third appeared, it was time to dip. Sorry guys, we've had enough Carnos for one day. By the time we circled the island and made it back to south, we were on the verge of starvation. We really needed some food, and fast. Acro spotted a decent-sized juvenile trike. That would do the trick. He was hard panicking, fleeing and tanking the damage as we went. And then the raptors came for Acro. Immediately I peeled off the trike. This pack had been fighting most everything in the area. I wasn't going to leave Acro to face them solo. We dropped two of them in very short order. A third pounced me and I quickly knocked him off on a nearby tree. Unfortunate for him, a bug with the knockdowns ruined his day. As the rest of the pack rushed away, we settled in to our meal. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to leave a like and comment your thoughts below. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for more content like this. Also, I finally made my own community server. This video was recorded on Meta's Den. Come join us there. We'd love to have you. Thanks, and I hope to see you again soon.